It's been a long time since I've recorded an episode of The Letter also, so I've been meaning to catch up with this because I felt really awkward after doing a very bad choice in the last episode by the looks of it. But we're going to see how it goes from there and see how in any other way I can end up pissing Luke off more, because it seems to be that's the charm I always seem to have with every single character is by pissing off Luke. So, we're going to resume now, and I have no idea what's going to happen other than I feel like I probably got Bill Cosby, but let's just roll with it. You give me a shotgun. Dance. The mornings after are always the loneliest. Although that I can simply brush off, I've already gone through several years of my life with only the fleeting company of others. Always nothing permanent. After her, there never was. Oh, so she's bisexual, okay. I'll live through this. The regret, though, it's the only one that stays and weighs. But there is no time for self-pity. I have a job to get ready for. Time to see how awkward I've made this. It isn't often that I think about drinking on the job. But after meeting with the Wrights yesterday, it really makes me want to break my self-imposed rules. Because first off, fucking damn whiskey was fucking damn Mr. Wright, so we... Ooh! We found it in the end. And to top it all off, they had somehow forgotten to inform me that they didn't own the Ermengarde mansion yet when they hired me. What sort of person does that? Well, about the hiring part especially.
Rich people.
I could do nothing but twiddle my thumbs at this. However, twiddle my thumbs and wait for the go signal. It's not like I can accept other smaller projects. This is a big job and I should be ready to start on it at any time. Not to mention that my PA practically begged me to be patient and wait this out. Okay. It was a hard decision to agree, but I did so in the end. Because I'm doing this for the Ermengarde mansion. Not for anything or anyone else. I'd have a headache whatever I do anyway. I'll go to the pub again, but seeing what happened a few days ago, I'd rather not end up in bed with another potential client. Oh, I'm a bit more pissed off that he knew. Before anything, and knew what he was doing. God damn. And it might be a huge leap in logic, but a library is the next best thing after the pub. I have to go there anyway. I need more books. For Dad. Plus, I also need to return the ones I borrowed last time. Finding a new book or two to read for myself, while I have nothing to do, isn't such a bad idea either. So, on a Saturday morning, I find myself going to the only library in Luxbourne to hopefully cool off. Who do I see here, then? I always hate this little bit of music. After returning to Ursley and a poetry book by Henry of Podebrady, I asked the librarian about the several titles on my list, though I don't have much luck on that front. Dialogue with Death has already been snatched, and she bluntly said that she did not keep our mathematical universe for someone who didn't return books on time. I make headway at least when I ask about Siege and rendition of Havana by Jacobo de Pezuela. If you count her snarling and pointing at the history section as headway, that is. The history section is devoid of any other except for myself and a redhead. Oh, is that Rebecca? Though I'd wager a guess that Red's just passing by to get the classical literature section. So many books, so little time. Scanning the books and seeing so many wonderful titles gives me great pleasure. And that's when I spot it.
Hello, sailor. Why don't you come to Mama?
You just say that casually out loud? Okay. Alright. Yeah, Hannah right for a party. No, that's not the right one. It's... Oh, goddamn. Well, yeah, that did happen. Why don't you come to Mama? City of Luxbourne Architecture, okay. It's not the naval battle book I was looking for. No, it's even better. The newly acquired History of Luxbourne Architecture, first edition too. I know, I just have to get it. I've been waiting to get my hands on the book for so long. The fact that there is only one copy proves to be a problem though, when Red reaches out for it at the same time as I do.
I think I had this first, miss.
It is Rebecca, you're back. Been a long time. I think I'd... Oh, okay. I can only stare her down when she refuses to let go of the book. Refusing to let go of it as well, I raise a brow at her in hopes that The fact that I was significantly taller than her would intimidate the girl. Even then she refused with a rebellious look.
This isn't exactly light reading, miss.
Uh.
I mean, do you even know which architect was at the forefront of 18th century Irish architecture?
A beat. She blinks and I can't help smirk on my face. Which is wiped off when she opens her mouth.
Edward Lovett Pierce, who established the Palladian style through his work with Castletown House and the Irish Houses of Parliament.
Destroyed!
This bridge was destroyed in this year to delay French
Well, yeah,
troops
destroyed.
while under the regency of Mary of Guise.
This is not what I was expecting. Let's be honest, how many people would know these history facts? Not a lot. Aside from me anyway.
Going right to the obscure ones, aren't you? Easy enough. Tullybody Old Bridge in Clackmannanshire, Scotland, on the January of 1560, if we want to be specific.
Was this an extra thing that would happen then? Suddenly it's a game where we throw these history questions and facts at each other, back and forth, in hushed tones unless we want to be thrown out of the library. After a while it goes from some strange competition into this strange but friendly banter. If we could call it that. But as fun as it is, the exchange soon slows down until we're grinning at how odd this whole scene is.
Marianne McCulloch, my desire for potatoes doesn't quite match what the stereotypes suggest.
You just hit the piss out yourself there, but okay.
Rebecca Gales, the Scots' supposed hatred for the English wasn't enough to stop me from teaching their little spawns.
Damn. By then, we had forgotten about our little tug of war, although she still holds the book in her hands. I had to let go of it without realizing when she answered my first question.
History teacher, then?
Got it in one.
No wonder you gave me a run for my money. Now, if we're talking about architecture, I'd blow you out of the water.
Damn.
You're from where? Luxburn Uni?
Oh no,
No.
just St. Goretti's.
Saint Goretti. That's how you say it then. You think a school would choose a more appropriate saint to name themselves after? Especially when they have very young students.
And I'm guessing you're an architect, if you're so confident about the subject.
Well, you're discharged.
Interior designer, Miss Gales.
Please, just call me Rebecca. You aren't one of my students, are you?
Marianne, then.
I could have said that I was an architect, but there's no point in explaining why I wasn't one anymore.
So, I've never seen you before. I'd like to think I've met every history aficionado in town.
I blame the rock I've been hiding under, of course. That, and I'm usually only here on the weekdays if time allows. Work often has me meeting clients on the weekends.
That must be interesting work.
It
Well-
allows for some creative freedom, sure.
I mean, this is an unlikely friendship of sorts. This is kind of cool.
But it's like working with children sometimes. Though you probably have it harder working with actual children.
Yeah.
The hardest part is convincing them that your idea is their idea.
That sounds exciting.
It is!
But isn't that true for any workplace, though?
Yeah.
We just cross our fingers and hope there aren't any man-children in charge of important things.
Why man children? Why not just people acting like children? That happens more than anything, really. But I see what she's getting
Any big projects right now? I can't imagine that interior designing is a frequent thing.
I'm working on the Ermengarde mansion. Lucky me. That mansion. Intach. Wonderful. Breathtaking. I can't wait to start in it. Now that is beautiful architecture.
A pause. It looks like she wants to say something. Cat9 mention of the house. I'm not surprised. The place is certainly popular with the locals, especially with the urban legends attached to it. In the next second, though, she seems to think better of it and drops what she's about to say.
So, do you have a portfolio or anything I can take a look at? I'd love to see your designs. Maybe you have some on a tablet. I've met some designers before, and they're always going crazy over these virtual
Oh, I've
robots
seen
or another.
them. Yeah. Oh God. True story. When I was in a thing called the Galleria in Hatfield in the UK, they had this business meetup where they had loads of different tech, and the fascinating part about this thing was they were advertising how useful their technology was, and one of them was on about virtual reality experiences, like walking through the property that you want to go for. And the one that I saw in this VR set, that it actually felt like I was there. It was ridiculous, like ridiculously well done. Like you could see everything when you looked around. Like you could see all the pool tables. It even makes it look like you're walking around them. It's weird. It's really weird, but it was really cool. I think that was over a year ago now. But that was very fascinating to see, and I couldn't believe it when I saw it. It was some amazing tech. The only problem I have with that one bit of VR is that you're not actually there. So there's a big difference when it comes to going there in person and seeing it for yourself, or if it's different from what it looks like in the VR that you saw it at. Two big problems with it, however, the guys that were holding the thing with it were very clever. They managed to give me some good rebuttals. I mean, it was fun chatting with them as well.
A tablet? Please. Callicrates didn't need those silly eye tabs when he built the Parthenon. I certainly don't need one to design a house.
God damn. The computer back at my place is all I have. Why should I buy such an expensive gadget that will just get outdated within the year? Yeah, iPad. When what I have is just as functional. The traditional ways had a far more personal touch, in my opinion. Not to mention those smartphones are awful tools of procrastination. Yes, they are. I can't even count on one hand the number of people I see going outside, only to have their eyes glued to the things. And fuck touchscreens. They're evil things that make typing what should have been a simple task harder.
I do have an online portfolio if you'd like. I can...
Oh, speaking or thinking of the devil seems to have summoned it, because before I can even carry on, Rebecca's attention wanes as she pulls out her mobile. From what I can only assume is a call, she gives me an unapologetic look before she's standing up and excusing herself. Off farther into the aisle she goes for some privacy. Do my best to give it to her as well. Try to tune her out.
Belle, is something wrong? Lunch at the coffee house.
Isabel.
Sure, I can make it.
Oh, well,
Not too far. I can be there in 10.
So this is what happened before that. Okay, that's cool. But with how quiet the surrounding is, she can't blame me if I overhear snippets of our conversation. When she returns with a sheepish look on her face, I know that our friendly chat has to be cut short.
Sorry, I have to go and meet with some friends.
That's alright, don't worry.
It's fine. Totally fine. No need to even apologise.
About the book.
Her embarrassment increases twofold when she realises she's still holding on to the history of Luxbourne architecture. I only give her time to think about it, as I put a hand up and shake my head, fishing out a pen and paper from my bag along with one of my business cards. I hand them over to her.
You know, I'm busy with work, so I might not even be able to take a peek at it anytime soon. You can go ahead and have it, but you'll have to ring me up when you're returning it just so I can snag it right away.
There we go. That's brilliant. She makes quick work, penning her number down and handing it back to me with a grin.
Deal. Just message me during school hours, of course. You have a good day then.
You too.
Oh, that was cool. With Rebecca gone, I'm left alone standing in the history section. Although my original plans were simply to sit down and read a good book, our little pop quiz, if you could call it that, made the time pass by without any of us even realising it. It was fun, and I do believe I made a new friend. Good job, Marianne. I would say that either way. It's like, well done, you done good. Even with the talk of lunch, however, I don't feel like grabbing a bite to eat. There are still other books to be read here, and I'm hoping to find something that will help me while I work with the rights. Something like How to Deal with Arseholes Professionally 101, just in case. I've dealt with a lot of uppity, snooty, and rich clients before, but it's still better to be safe than sorry. Because Luke Wright just takes the fucking cake, and he probably manages to eat it too. Well, not going any further than that. I think she said she couldn't feel anything with him either. Seems the world is conspiring to keep me from my me time, as my mobile vibrates in my pocket the moment I find something from the shelves of the classic literature section.
Marianne McCulloch, Charlie Rose Design speaking.
Oh my god, she knows Rose!
Rose Cooper here, Miss McCullough. I hope I didn't catch you at a bad time or anything, but I just wanted to check in and tell you that we've got the clear to hand over the documents. Madam Wright told us that we should forward the floor plans to you.
Oh, okay, already? How did they go through the process so fast? Okay, BRC. Oh, okay, that's the branch that she's from then. Surely there is so many red tape to even acquire the forms in the transferring of rights? No matter how rich the rights are, it shouldn't be this quick, right?
So, if I can just have your email, I'll be sending them your way.
I'd actually like a physical copy of the floor plans.
Oh, I suppose that's fine. I'm not at the office right now, but I can inform Miss Santos of your request.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to drop by the office after lunch if that's fine.
Not a problem. Right. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Right. Cheers.
Who says cheers to end off a call now? Hardly anyone. Although I've said it a couple times. I don't know. I just don't. Is there some sort of deeper miscommunication when we last met? These things take time. It's been, what, A day? Less than that even. There isn't even a point in trying to make sense of these people who seem to be larger than life. And there we are. I mean, that was awesome. I mean, that was a lovely bit that happened there. And I think that's the only way I could have got that is by doing that with, you know who. Marianne befriended Rebecca Gales during a visit to the library. Marianne received a call from Lois Cooper afterwards, informing her that the Ermengarde Mansion's floor plans were ready for pickup at the office. Nice. As it looks like I'm on the clock starting today, I might as well eat. Grabbing some fish and chips from one of the street food stalls, I find a table to spend time with a copy of Marquis de Sade's The Crime of Love, since Rebecca left with the book I wanted. I've read this one before, along with the rest of his works. This would be the 18th time, in fact. God damn, you like his stuff. But it's always nice to read through it again, when I don't have time to enjoy something new. Something is literally hanging above my eye, and I can't see where it is. It's like there. Like a tiny... Oh, no, it's gone now. Thank God. No, it's not. It might be just my hair. Do I need a haircut? I swear. Besides, when you're dealing with people who are so filthy rich that they end up just plain filthy, you need to get a good old Marquis sound advice.
La blessure se trouvant sans aucune sorte de conséquence.
The blessed shall suffer the consequences? The wound being without any consequence. Oh, okay. I was close. Not quite, though. Of course, it's folly to think that things have no consequence when everything actually does. Briar Realty Corporation's Luxbourne branch isn't too far off from the city centre. Just a few blocks away and I can easily eat and walk. I'd rather use this time to rest before I go into a flurry of activity. No doubt there'll be so much to do once we get hands on with the mansion.
Still a lot better than working on another condo, at least.
Yeah, it's a lot better. Surely no matter how much BRC and the old owners put into the restoration and preservations of the place, any big repairs would be superficial at most. I am quite certain in their haste to sell the property they did a rush job. It isn't an infrequent thing to do despite how it is frowned upon. There'll be a lot of hidden issues that I'll need to weed out, and I have to make sure I find every single one of them, especially the more serious damages. Structural integrity is definitely on top of the list we will have to consider. The building might look sturdy, but it is centuries old. That alone will likely pose a few problems here and there, put limitations on what we can do. Besides, despite how much I detest these rich snobs, they can pay rather handsomely. So as long as I do an excellent job and do more than necessary. Those two things always made sure the referrals keep coming. I don't even have to hunt down projects for myself. And here we are, we're going to get them, and what time is it? It's just afternoon, okay. When I do go to BRC's office, I can't help but stop and stare when I enter the building. I love that Yang Yang Mobile freaking logo up in the corner, just seeing it there. I see what you're doing, guys. And, well, did I make this joke already where I said, is that a Gundam? I can't remember. It's been ages. With the lunch hour closing, employees should have been back already. They still aren't filtering through the doors. I get that it's a Saturday, that people probably feel tired and lazy to be working on the weekend, but they're still on the clock and not bumming about wasting company time and extended lunch breaks and cigarette sessions. The office is spacious as it is with these big corporations. Each person is given their little space of what's usually a 2x2 meter cubicle. There is a lot more empty chairs than there are actual people working at their desks. It reminds me far too much of my last day at Puriskova projects. During the massive layoffs due to the Irish economic crisis. But it isn't just that though. Everything is as quiet as a grave. It's as if these people are merely ghosts. Speaking of ghosts, Santos comes in through the door looking as if she's just seen one. Yeah, she's not. Isabel, hello! She looks at me wide-eyed, like a deer caught in the headlights, ready to bolt at any moment. Oh, story updated. I'd ask out of concern, but I feel it's not my position to do so. I don't do it? Oh, isn't it because I lowered the relationship between us? I did. Oh, that's why it changed on this one. Ooh. Oh, what if it's something personal? I'd simply be overstepping my boundaries. Really, it's none of my business.
I presume that Miss Cooper told you why I'm here, Miss Santos?
Huh?
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just got back from lunch, you know? But it won't take too long. Don't worry.
Of course it won't. This whole project has established itself to be a matter done in haste. I do hope it doesn't mean that people are being careless in their duties.
Ooh, whoa, okay, hold on a minute. She flinches and looks like she doesn't quite know how to respond to that. Thankfully, instead of opening her mouth, she leads the way towards her station and goes to fetch the floor plans. It won't take too long, as she said, but it does take a bit. Time spent to compose herself, most likely.
No, we usually just email these things.
I prefer the real thing.
Not that you would know. Jesus Christ, I really made her not like it, didn't I? You probably have your nose stuck in front of a smartphone when you're not working, and even when you should be working. No, she's not. She's actually petrified of something! Playing those mindless, addictive games. I definitely wish Chris would stop playing that Batcat thing during work hours,
I know
too.
what you mean. Digital painting is nice, but nothing beats the smell of real paint. Not that I go and smell paint like a crazy person, but, you know, the real thing is different.
Wait, what?
Yes, nothing is quite like the real thing.
Alright, there we go. Checking out the floor plans, I see that I'll have a lot going for me, now that I know how Ray felt when he found the Central Park West building floor plans from that one movie. Okay, what movie was that? Oh yeah, the attics. Ooh, they are on there. This is why I became an architect in the first place. Jacobean style at its finest. It's a thing of beauty. Look at these gorgeous rooms. The delicate harmony between empty spaces, and speaking of empty spaces, there's something rather odd about these ones.
I feel a bit silly saying it out loud because I've never lived in a big house, let alone a mansion. But during the tour, I had the distinct impression that the rooms were bigger.
Okay.
Maybe the scale is wrong? It's not much of a problem. And it is an old house.
Oh, that's weird. There had been little details here and there that I would have liked to address during the open house too. But it was all forgotten in the wake of Miss Santos's incident and the trouble with ownership. The wine cellar is going to be a problem. I shudder to think what sort of repairs they did to the place. That's the one place we haven't gone down yet, is the wine cellar. I remember that. There might have been things that were swept under the rug, pushed to the dark corner of the rooms, and hidden away in barrels. Water damage could have been covered up. There had been floods due to heavy rains in West England just last year, after all. And if there's any sort of damage to the house's foundation, that's going to be a lot of work. I was not able to look at the attics as well. For all I know, a whole family of vermin could have made its nest there. Working with pest control is always the worst. The sheer size of this place is staggering. Even if I did just say that it was a lot smaller than I thought, I might just be biting off more than I could chew, but who doesn't like a good challenge? First things first, I'll have to...
So, do you want a coffee? The one from the staff room is pretty decent.
There's really no need. I'm sure you have rules against it.
Huh?
Rules against bringing someone coffee? That's ridiculous. And even if there were regulations against it, nobody's really here to tell Sir John. I've already brought 2 mugs, and I'm not going to drink them on my own.
Oh, please have a
Come
coffee
on.
with her, please. I had to stamp down my annoyance at being distracted. Seeing the girl, the young woman though, it looks like she has a lot in her mind. If babbling is her way of dealing with stray thoughts, I'm not really the one she should be babbling to. Ooh, I think. Oh, yes, yes, yes! Finally, I made a good choice. I gave her time to speak up, but when she just stares, I clear my throat.
Yes? You have something to say?
As embarrassment creeps up upon her face, I snatch one of the coffees from her and take a sip. Too hot!
Just thinking and speaking off the record, it must be fun what you do. You go to people's houses and you make them, well, pretty. You're sharing your art with them.
It's a little bit more complex than that.
Well, I do understand what she's getting at,
But
though.
if you put it that way,
Yeah.
it is fun. I wouldn't have done it for 7 years if it wasn't a little bit fun, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. If you don't enjoy it, why are you in that profession for so
These
long?
big clients always have paintings in their homes. Do you have a supplier for art pieces?
Ooh. Wait, is she on about... Ooh, okay, that updated the story as well. I didn't expect to hear such questions from her, seeing how well she handled herself yesterday. I didn't doubt then why she was assigned to an important sale like the Ermengarde mansion, despite the little accident she had. Now, she just looks too young too nervous and unsure of herself, although her enthusiasm must make up for that in spades. In fact, I wouldn't have believed it if she had introduced herself the way she is at the moment. Why, watching her now, she actually looks like she should still be in college. Acts a bit like it too when I think about it. I thought she was a team slumming it out at the mansion when I saw her there, lying on the ground. Surprise, surprise, she turned out to be one of the estate agents handling the property. Whoa. Oh, I'm upstating the story here. Woo! I don't even know what to make of that whole meltdown that happened with that strange document. If I were the client, I would have been very upset. She'd be in hot water for it.
Clients usually support artists of their own choice.
Yeah.
If they don't, I'm always happy to refer those that I know.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's fair
They're
enough.
very picky. I don't think a hobbyist will have an easy time getting their work sold.
No, they would not.
Hey, I'll have you know I was a student of the fine arts.
Huh?
And yet, here you are, selling property. Maybe you weren't a very fine student of the arts.
Ooh, maybe I took that a bit too far. She bites her cheek, and it looks like she's barely holding herself
It's
back.
not like I had a choice.
She mutters it under her breath. I barely even hear it. But the hurt is there. It makes one wonder what brought it on. Wow, 3 changes of the story from this thing. God. Although it is understandable, if her reason's what I think it is, very few people make it big in the art world. I can see why she'd be upset about it, with that enthusiasm. I didn't have a choice when I left Ireland. It was that or years of unemployment. The recession and the toll it took on the construction industry was out of anyone's control. I don't know what choice she wasn't able to make, whether it was about her being at art school or something else. But the world isn't a fair place. A Light in the Dark, is this you? 4 story changes, and as soon as she accepts it, the better. I think she has. Still, with that forlorn look in her face, I can't help but sigh. The girl reminds me far too much of myself when I was younger.
Well, if you're thinking of commissioning your paintings, I'll have to see your work first.
Oh, it's not. I didn't mean it like that. I don't have any paintings.
Really? You sounded a lot like you still did art or want to.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to worry that you might just like the smell of paint.
I'm not a paint huffer, sheesh.
Paint huffer.
I just mean I don't make much anymore. I don't really have the time for it. The tools and materials aren't exactly cheap either.
Everything has a price. It sounds like you're making excuses for something you're presumably passionate about.
So
If you
family...
really want to practice art, a little out of your wallet isn't much.
It's not that simple.
It's not. Life's simple. People just like to make it complex. Speaking off the record, I have
Well,
some advice
kid.
for you, kid.
Whoa.
Either go for what you want, or stop thinking about it when you have something else. That is unless you enjoy making yourself miserable. Then by all means.
You know, if you wanted to look at the floor plans without me bothering you, you could have just said so.
Would you have left me alone?
We'll never know now, will we?
I don't know, I can go back in time. Strained air settles in the room afterwards. Doesn't help that she doesn't immediately leave as she has said, lingering awkwardly by the door with that downcast expression. It's clear there's more she means to say, perhaps even to defend herself and her choices in life. She's in a harsh place. She's trying her hardest to help her family, and... Ooh. Jesus. That's a rock and a hard place right there. Or is she expecting me to dish out more of that advice? It's an awkward affair, and I choose to hightail out of the reality office as quick as I can. Oof, grow up, kid. God damn. Though I am able to keep myself professional at all times does not mean I like it. And seeing that most of the day has already gone by before I realised it, I choose to head back to my flat instead. Despite today being a Saturday. No fun, but at least this way I can definitely avoid another unpleasant encounter. Considering how much I'll be seeing whiskey in the near foreseeable future, I have a feeling I'll need all the rest the weekend can give me. For the first time in a long while, excited as I am to work in a mansion, I cannot wait to be over and done with this project. And now it's Monday already. That was quick. Monday couldn't come any sooner. After taking the floor plans from Miss Santos the day before last, I spent most of my Sunday drawing up plans and calling in my suppliers. Although no design choices have been made yet, I'm quite sure they'd want high-end appliances, the most expensive materials, and the most pretentious everything. They usually did, these rich types, based on experience at least. Given how badly this whole thing started, it wouldn't hurt to be prepared. I had to check myself, make sure I'm not playing with my gloves as one of the other building tenants takes the elevator up with me. Wait, elevator? Where? It makes me self-conscious when the woman's eyes go over me, and I'm sure she was going to point out some perceived flaw in my physical appearance. But I'm saved from being paranoid when they went off a few floors later. Still, the ride up to my floor is nerve-wracking. How high are we going? The Wrights lived at the penthouse. The Wrights lived at the very top, the penthouse, the creme de la creme when it comes to condominium and urban living. Just getting access to the place is an ordeal of its own. I had to jump so many hoops, so many security checks just to secure a key card. Not only because of building management, but because of the Wrights' personal security. It sometimes felt like I'm being interrogated for a crime, and not visiting a client at their home. Even when their personal assistant called in to help out and verify my presence, the process is aggravated rather than hastened. Speaking of the devil... Oh, what's his name? I've forgotten his name. Let's have a look at the book anyway, because I know that did help Isabel, but god damn, that was a brutal takeover. Yep. She was assisted by Isabella Santos, and the two shared a brief talk about art, which ended with Marianne leaving a piece of advice to Isabella. Damn. The elevator door opens and I'm greeted by none other than Whiskey's not so little lackey.
I do apologize if I kept Mr. and Mrs. Wright waiting, but I'm here now and I'm ready, so if I may, where are they?
They've just woken
Oh,
up,
I
but
forgot
they
his
should be
name.
down soon. I'm surprised to see you made it through security. And only 5 minutes late.
You said I'd be through security soon, and it took half an hour. Define soon in this context.
I'd make myself comfortable if I were you. I'm going to go and put the kettle on.
What's the kettle
About
on?
the
Go on.
tea, I don't want to intrude or anything.
The sir does not like being woken up by the whistling. But who am I to deny tea to a guest?
Oh, shows me to the couch before drifting off towards the kitchen, quietly pulling out a teapot, cups and all sorts of other things in preparations for tea. I ignore the animosity towards his employer that his words implied. I wouldn't be too surprised if Whiskey's own people don't like him. Accepting the quiet and isolation instead, I brace myself for what's to come. In this case soon, apparently means more than 5 minutes or even 10. I sit in their living room just waiting. Then the kettle starts whistling and the tea has been served. I continue to wait. At least the silence is relaxing. Yeah, the building is nice as well. The view. Oop. Okay, but then there's a crash. I need to spill my tea over my lap in surprise, and I look up, expecting security to come running. Even the man at the kitchen counter continues to fix breakfast like he heard nothing. I don't want to speak up about it because he looks far too absorbed in his cooking, and I don't want to be the cause of burnt food or worse. He's just doing it to piss him off now. However, there's something in me that just wants to figure out what that was, although I am normally not this nosy. Nope, I'm not gonna go. Nope. I'm gonna continue waiting. I have no business with it. I'm not checking. I'm not going. Simple as, when there's a bang in the house, it's the worst thing to go into someone's room. More than anything. Ooh. These rich people usually value their privacy above all else after all. Yep. Unless of course they're posting pictures on social media, bragging about what good people they are for following themselves to be interviewed for some magazine. Then again, the whole reason I'm in this mess is because I don't give two shits about what's going on with people like them. And I'm not going to get caught snooping about and be accused of something imagined of wrongdoing. I'm not going to be some busybody detective wannabe and run off to investigate, whatever that was. It's probably just mundane anyway, like a lamp falling over. No, it's Mr. Wright. I'm just going to sit here and wait for Mrs. Wright, with my tea, in complete silence.
Could I at least put the telly on?
I don't really expect him to answer. If he hadn't heard the crash, I doubt he would have heard
As
me.
long as you don't watch some silly soap opera, the LBC News would be fine.
Okay.
The William Walker show is on too, if you prefer that.
William
Not that I
Walker.
watch it, but my husband does.
Eh?
The remote is under the coffee
Wait, he has
table.
a husband? God damn.
Oh, sure. Maybe I'll be lucky and catch the doc on. I heard they're having reruns of the classics, and I want to see the second meet sixth in Spain. If not, just the news then. Thank you. I'll let you get on with your cooking now.
Did you just ignore the crash a while ago then? Yeah, you did. Whatever. Fetching a remote, I turn the TV on in the hopes of filling the silence. Trying to anyway, because the thing won't turn on. And doesn't that make the silence more awkward of what? I know I might not be the best with tech, but I'm sure I can work a simple television remote.
Batteries must be dead.
Wait. Nope. 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 Severe nopage. Nope. What? There is blood everywhere. Help me, it says in red. I look at my own hands and find them clean, yet I see my grisly reflection gaping back at me. And though there is nothing staining my skin, I can feel the sticky and warm feeling of blood dripping down my cheeks. I should be worried. Instead, my attention draws towards her. Her beautiful blonde hair. Her soft lips with skin so fair and swaying hips. I want nothing more than to hold her, but my lips on her neck and to run my fingers through her hair. Oh. Oh no. That's the person that she was on about then. Why has she seen her? She laughs and smiles when she looks at me, but where are her eyes? Oh hell no. Oh hell no. No. If there's some things that I can't deal with in games, it's if something doesn't have eyes or has something as replacements for eyes, like dolls with button eyes. I hate, or porcelain dolls I hate even more. But people have no eyes whatsoever. That freaks me out. Where are her eyes? Temptation is gone in an instant and I recoil, horrified at this reflection I am seeing. I need to back in something, or rather someone. Oh my god, it's right behind her. That was freaky. Mrs. Wright stands there, twirling a lock of her blonde hair, a soft smile on her lips, and a hand on her hip. I almost back away, but I ground and remind myself that this is my client. And whatever I just saw, well, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to say perhaps I'm going a bit daft. It would be preferable, of course, to think that it was all a trick of the light, or makings of an overactive imagination.
Good morning, Mrs. Wright. I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Have you been standing there long?
No, I just came down and saw you were having a hard time with the telly. We must have forgotten to change the batteries. Are you alright, dear? You're looking a bit pale. Haven't you had breakfast yet?
No, I'm fine. I had breakfast already, Mrs. Wright. I just need...
Well then, you mustn't have had enough breakfast.
Oh,
I'm
she's
all
trying
for
to
a
help
good
her out.
diet, but that's the most important meal of the day. Johans is cooking up pancakes. Pancakes will make anyone feel better, he always says. We can sit down and tuck in. You'll feel right as rain once we get some fluffy, syrupy goodness in you. And are you sure you're fine,
Okay.
Marianne? You're shaking.
Oh, looking down at my hands, I can see them trembling. Really? Just because she looks so much like her. I'm becoming a damn train wreck. I've been seeing her in my dreams and hearing her voice ever since I met Mrs. Wright at the mansion, so she must look a lot like her. With so many blondes in the world, what was different with her? I'm gonna end it here. I'm gonna end it here. I think I know what choice I'm gonna go for when I come back to this. I'm gonna go with I'm not feeling too well. I'm not gonna go with I just remembered something. Because if we lie now or try to divert something, we can mess up everything again. And I think just mentioning I'm not feeling too well, and then just trying to hide I just remembered something, that'll make it worse. Ooh. That was kind of freaky. I actually want to get back into this now as much as I can. Just balancing everything is a nightmare. But I think soon I can get a handle of it. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you want any more from me. And I shall see you in the next video. Sonaja, guys. I'll indeed make more quality next time. Jesus Christ. This is awesome. Oh.